Have you wasted hours of your life waiting for a certain fate to spawn in Bozja? Are you curious on how critical engagements spawn? Or maybe you're just tired of killing scorpions? Well then, this guide is meant for you. In this video, I'll try to explain what I found about critical engagements in Bozja and how to make them spawn. But before I start, I want to clarify that this video is based on info I collected in my runs in Bozja exclusively, not in Satnor. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is also true for the critical engagements there. Also, if you think that I may have misinterpreted something, please let me know in the comments. Now, without further ado, let's begin. There are a total of 15 critical engagements in Bozja, counting the 1 vs 1 duels. I'm not counting Castrum Lacus Litor or whatever that's even pronounced, as it works in a totally different way as the other critical engagements. Well, some of these critical engagements, or CE for short, are quote-unquote hidden behind fates that must be cleared for them to appear, and others will just spawn without having to clear any specific fate as a prerequisite. For ease of understanding, I'll be calling the first as CE chains, and the later as regular CEs. There are 3 things important to know here. 1. There can only be 1 critical engagement active at a time. 2. CEs have their own queue, independent to regular fates in Bozja. And 3. All CEs have a prerequisite to spawn. Okay, let me go point by point explaining what that means. 1. There can only be 1 critical engagement active at a time. So this is a list of all the CEs in Bozja, and if the CE you're looking for isn't up, and you see 1 fate or CE in this list in your map, the best thing you can do is to go help anyone clear the CE or CE chain so the queue can advance. Notice that Unicorn Flakes needs for someone to go talk for an NPC for it to start. Otherwise, it will stay forever blocking the whole queue. And I think that this is the CE that screws up the hopes and dreams of anyone. So, for further reference, it spawns at the eastmost part of Zone 2. Second, CEs have their own queue, independent to regular fates in Bozja. Regular fates shouldn't block the spawning of regular nor CE chains. So don't get mad if you see a farming party killing all the mobs in the zone. That won't delay your objective. Also important to notice here, this may be the reason of why CEs in Zone 3 give the feeling of being rare, as there are usually less people in Zone 3 compared to the other 2 zones. The CEs for lower zones tend to reach the queue earlier than Zone 3, and clearing all the CEs and chains in the queue will take time, more time than the majority are willing to invest in the instance. That's why the infamous for absent friends is most commonly seen in fresh instances and in dead instances. And finally, for our last point, all CEs have a prerequisite to spawn. This may go against what people believe, but all CEs have a prerequisite. Sadly, I don't know the exact requirement for every CE that I've shown you in that list. But don't worry, it doesn't mean that you need to kill a special mob like 50 times or something like that. I mean, yeah, some may need that, but for the vast majority of these fates and CEs, you should only need an active, healthy zone. That meaning cluster farmers and fate farmers in that zone. And that's it. We reached the end of the video. You may think that this video is pointless, as Endwalker release is near, but I hope that this can be of some use to all those who still need to farm field records. Thanks if you stay until the end, stay safe, and happy farming!